Welcome. I am Susan Barashai, founder of Sia Admissions. And for those of you who are new to our channel, we work with candidates who are making strategic career moves into technology and are obviously pursuing an MBA. Today, I want to share something that may change how you think about MBA program selection as it relates to obviously those particularly that are applying in future rounds. So you've developed incredible, valuable skills in consulting, given that today's topic is particularly for those who are consultants looking to pivot into technology. So you've developed an incredible career so far and have obviously great skills that you have developed in the various different projects you worked on. You synthesized complex information, you influenced stakeholders, you navigated ambiguity, you solved problems that don't have obvious answers. These capabilities are exactly what a lot of the tech companies need. And the question isn't whether you can make this transition. You absolutely can. The strategic question is which pathway into tech aligns with what you want to build for yourself in the future. And that is a question that a lot of applicants, as they're navigating a career transition, have quite a bit of ambiguity around opportunities. And today we're going to examine 4 excellent MBA programs. So MIT, Sloan, Berkeley, Haas, UCLA, Anderson, and Cornell Johnson, that all successfully place consultants into technology space. These are obviously not the only schools, of course, but we're trying to cover a variety of different school options across different sessions that we have. But what makes this list of schools that I have chosen to select for today's presentation is that they position you for completely different segments of the tech industry. One school leverages deep technical ecosystem access, another owns Bay Area product management recruiting, a third gives Southern California's unique tech landscape, and one offers East Coast tech access that works completely different than West Coast environments. The schools you choose are going to determine which companies recruit you most actively, which types of tech roles you're best positioned for, and how you'll frame your consulting experience in applications. So school selection is incredibly important because of these next moves that you are looking to have in your career. We are in our session today are going to be focusing on making sure that you have a strategic advantage, making informed choices based on what each program actually delivers, not just chasing prestige. And I understand very well what brand name means, but I want applicants, as they're going through this journey, to really think deeply about what it is that they are looking from programs before they embark on this journey. So let's get started. I want to start by examining how you think about tech careers, because there's a significantly more opportunities than the typical product management focus suggests. A lot of people that I speak to who are looking to move into tech, the quintessential or they're using techs in terms of their role as synonymous with product management. Product management obviously is an excellent path for many consultants. Your ability to synthesize user needs, evaluate trade-offs, and influence cross-functional teams translates beautifully into the tech environment. But it's only one among many options, many opportunities. Tech companies actively seek consultants for corporate strategy roles, which means you'll be helping companies think about M&A, market entry, competitive positioning, and your consulting toolkit is applicable and very valuable, excuse me, in this space. Then you can think about business operations and chief of staff roles, leveraging your ability to drive initiatives across organizations, exactly what you did with clients in your consulting work. Then we have go-to-market strategy and partnership that position you as being able to use your strategic thinking and stakeholder management to bring products to market. Obviously, product management and technical program management roles need someone who can coordinate complex initiatives and communicate across technical and business teams, which oftentimes is a huge challenge. Now, within product management specifically, there is an important distinction worth noting and understanding. You have a product management that is technical versus non-technical PM. Technical PM roles often are focused in infrastructure, developer tools, or platform products. Typically, this kind of technical PM role requires engineering background or deep technical fluency. Companies like Google and Meta have many technical PM roles where your consulting experience alone is not going to be sufficient. So you really want to assess what kind of experience are you bringing to the table and what you need before you make these moves. Whereas non-technical PM roles, which would be consumer products, growth product management, product marketing, leverages your consulting strength directly. Your business judgment, user empathy, and strategic thinking are precisely what this role does require, so more of your soft skills. And your consulting experience will make it much more viable, to make this transition and smoother transition at that. The schools that we're examining today have different strengths across these pathways. Understanding which roles interest you most is going to help you choose strategically and also assess not just these schools, but also other schools in the sort of like repository of the T20 business school list. But let's talk a bit about employment reports. So employment reports from top MBA programs give excellent baseline information, and you have to really be understanding of that. It's a baseline information. You can see from the employment reports, all place consultants into technology successfully, especially from these schools that we're talking about today, but you're going to look across the schools that you're considering. What takes more sophisticated analysis is understanding the nuances that determine which schools align best with your specific goals. For instance, when schools report tech placement that includes product managers, strategists, operations, leadership, and business development professionals, each role type has different recruiting dynamics. The technical versus non-technical PM distinction we discussed doesn't show up in the employment data, but it significantly affects which opportunities you can access based on your background and your experiences. Some tech roles recruit heavily on campus with structured process. Others require more entrepreneurial networking and self-directed search. Different programs support different pathways differently. And it is your job as an applicant to do your due diligence to make sure that you understand this fully. Geographic patterns matter, especially if you're looking into moving into technology. If you know you want Bay Area specifically, that's a different decision that if you're considering East Coast tech and want geographic flexibility. And interestingly, different tech companies and different roles within those companies value consulting backgrounds also differently. Some see it as a perfect preparation. Others require you to demonstrate you're genuinely transitioning, not just extending consulting by another name. Here at Sia Admissions, we help clients understand these distinctions because strategic school choices, strategic school selection does require seeing beyond surface level data. And today, I want to really talk about the patterns we've observed working with consulting candidates, making these exact transitions across these schools. So we're going to start with Berkeley. Berkeley Haas leads these 4 programs in pure tech company placement at 38.6%. And the composition of that placement tells an important story. Nearly 20% of Haas graduates go to software companies, another 8.5 to internet service and e-commerce. This isn't tech consulting or tech adjacent role. This is product management, strategist, and operations roles or operators inside companies building technology products. Haas has built sophisticated product management recruiting infrastructure. Companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, and increasingly AI-focused companies like NVIDIA recruit actively on campus. The school's location isn't just convenient, it really creates that networking density and opportunity that compounds over your time there as a student, that obviously you always want to make sure that you're taking advantage of. For consultants specifically, Haas excels at positioning you for non-technical PM roles where business judgment, strategic thinking, and stakeholder influence obviously is going to matter a lot. Your consulting background becomes an asset in roles focused on consumer products, marketplace dynamics, or even growth strategy roles. And geographically, it's worth noting that about 49% of Haas graduates place specifically in SF or in that area. The concentration creates a powerful networking effect. Your classmates become your industry contacts, your alumni network, and can provide warm introductions. And you're physically present in that ecosystem year-round, which means that you can take advantage of you not only just relying on recruiting with the employment office at Haas, but also do your own legwork to make sure that you are getting the optimal opportunities available. Culturally, Haas has a question the status quo ethos that resonates with people who want to define their own path rather than follow prescribed recruiting tracks. So if you're someone who thrives with autonomy and wants to shape your own opportunities, Haas definitely rewards that approach. It is who your peer group is going to be, as well as the alumni body that you can take advantage of as you navigate a transition. The consultant who chooses Haas strategically typically knows they want Bay Area. And that means are excited about product management pathway or tech company strategy roles and value being embedded in the center of the tech ecosystem. This obviously is not about placing Haas as the best school for this. It's really just about recognizing where Haas's specific strengths are, and that can create advantage for particular goals. So if you are considering this space and you're entirely sure that this is what you want to do, Haas can be a great place for you in this space. MIT Sloan is the second school we're going to evaluate. And MIT Sloan Tech Story is obviously distinctive because it's MIT itself. You're not just in the business school, you are embedded in, one of the leading tech institutions in the world. So for consultants making a transition, this creates interesting opportunities. You can take computer science courses, engage with AI research labs, work with engineering students on projects, or build technical fluency that most MBA programs who don't have that ecosystem can't provide. This matters specifically if you're interested in more quantitative or tech product roles. Think, analytics platform, data products, technical infrastructures, or AI applications. Your consulting background combined with MIT's tech credibility definitely is going to position you differently than pure business school candidates from other schools. So the product management placement at MIT, which is about 13.6%, shows solid strength, and notably the median compensation is about $178,000, which is among the highest among these programs that we're assessing today. So what does this tell you? This suggests that Sloan consultants are leading more senior or technically sophisticated PM roles where that combination of business strategy and technical understanding command that premium value that employers are paying for. And even if you don't have that necessarily technical skills and you want a more technical focused job, you have the opportunities to make sure that you're strengthening those skill sets while at MIT. What's also strategic about Sloan is that they maintain very strong consulting placement at about 32%, including significant tech consulting practices. So if you're not completely certain that you want to leave consulting, or if you see tech consulting as a smart bridge into tech companies before you make your final call, Sloan definitely is going to give you that flexibility. And geographically, Sloan places across regions and even the globe. Boston has its own robust tech ecosystem. So Amazon, Microsoft, Google all hire from Sloan MBA program. So you're not locked into one geography. You have definitely a lot more flexibility as to where you go from here. The consultants who benefit most from Sloan typically have some technical background they want to leverage. They are interested in analytical or infrastructure products versus consumer apps, or value maintaining opportunities between tech and consulting. These we have found are the ones who are most successful in converting to Sloan. Sloan definitely rewards those who engage with MIT's technical community rather than staying solely within the business school itself. And obviously, if you are thinking about Sloan, you want to take those details into consideration. Let's go to UCLA Anderson. We're kind of doing a hopping across the United States. So UCLA Anderson's tech opportunities is about a different ecosystem than Bay Area's focus program, and that distinction creates a lot of value. Anderson places about 23% into tech, with 70% of graduates staying in California. And just to note, this is 2024 numbers. What's strategic about UCLA Anderson is it's obviously Southern California, which has its own tech landscape that Anderson can have or has access to. So if you're interested in entertainment technology, think streaming platforms, gaming, media tech, Anderson's network into Disney, Netflix, gaming companies is definitely unmatched. This isn't necessarily a niche interest. Entertainment and media represent massive tech platforms with sophisticated product and strategy roles. So product management placement at UCLA is about 10%, which is definitely solid. Those individuals who use the UCLA Anderson network, recruiting, career services, move, and obviously are interested to go into this space, move into PM roles, product operations roles, or go-to-market roles, where your consulting skill set around business model strategy and market dynamic applies directly to those specific roles. Beyond pure PM, companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft do recruit also at Anderson. Often this is for business operations, regional strategy, or program management roles. These are definitely going to leverage your consulting background while getting into tech companies that obviously will allow you to navigate internally the kinds of roles that you pivot down the line. The cultural element at Anderson is that it provides structured career support. If you want a clear process, extensive company networking events, and career services who are actively facilitating connections, where they specifically have industry-specific career services, teams. Anderson definitely is going to deliver on that, but not if you're expecting to be handheld. So keep that in mind. They have the lifestyle also is obviously going to matter to a lot of people. Southern California offers tech career opportunities with better weather, slightly lower cost of living than SF, and access to entertainment industry if that interests you long term. This is really, really important for those applicants who are going through this process, because if you're not interested in those spaces and that ecosystem, then you really want to be thoughtful about which programs you're saying yes to. The Anderson consultant typically values West Coast, but isn't dogmatic about SF, is open to various tech roles rather than solely focus on PM, or is specifically interested in the entertainment and tech intersection. Those are the ones who are going to make more use of their UCLA Anderson experience. And finally, Johnson's opportunity is different from the West Coast. And obviously that's going to create value for consultants with specific geographic or career pathway preferences. Johnson places about 11% into pure tech, which is the smallest of the 4 programs, of course. I don't think any of this comes as a surprise. But looking only at the numbers can miss opportunities that Johnson delivers strategically for consultants. So first, Johnson maintains very strong consulting placement at about 31%. And for consultants who see value in using tech consulting as an intentional bridge, so join Deloitte's or Accenture's tech practice, build domain expertise, then transition internally or externally, Johnson definitely can position you well for that pathway. Second, Johnson's network is concentrated in Northeast with about 65%. So if you know you want to be on the East Coast, New York FinTech, Boston Tech, DC area, Johnson's alumni network is strong here, and you're definitely going to be able to leverage that to make the moves that you need to move. The tech roles Johnson's consultants access tend or trend towards corporate strategy, business operations, and program management at established tech companies rather than startup PM roles that you see, in the West Coast. And those placements are often in definitely strategic functions. Johnson also places consultants into corporate innovation roles. So joining Fortune 500 companies, leading their digital transformation initiatives. This is technically tech adjacent, but represent meaningful opportunity for consultants who want to drive innovation in already established organizations, which is very different than joining a startup when, in terms of the pressures are very different. Culturally, Johnson is collaborative and supportive. The recruiting process is very structured and community oriented. So if that environment does sound appealing, after consulting intensive, then Johnson may provide those opportunities for you. The Johnson consultant strategically chooses this pathway when they value and want to stay in the East Coast, see consulting as a smart bridge into technology, or are targeting corporate strategy and innovation roles rather than pure startup product building opportunities that we oftentimes think about when we think about PM roles. None of this makes Johnson inferior. It makes Johnson different and that have distinct advantages for certain career goals. And as you're navigating this process, and I know a lot of you may not necessarily entirely know what you want to do, you want to keep these details and these nuances in mind as you navigate this. So your consulting experience is genuinely valuable for tech transitions, which means problem solving, stakeholder management, navigating ambiguity, synthesizing complex information. These capabilities matter enormously in tech roles. The strategic work for your application is demonstrating you understand what each specific program delivers and why that aligns with your specific goals. For Haas applicants, show you've done research in the Bay Area tech culture. Maybe you've networked with Haas alumni in tech roles. You understand the specific companies and products you're excited about. You have a clear thesis of why product management or which tech companies specifically interest you. Haas wants to see you'll engage deeply with their ecosystem, and you want to make sure that you communicate this once you've developed your goals. For Sloan applications, demonstrate intellectual curiosity about technology. Hugely important. Maybe you've taken technical courses, built something, engaged with technical communities. Explain specifically how MIT Sloan community and engineering and research ecosystem will help you build the capabilities you need for the tech role transition you're looking to have. Sloan wants to see you'll engage beyond just the business school, so make sure you capture that in your applications. For Anderson applicants, you want to have a clear geographic rationale. If you're drawn to entertainment tech, explain why. If you value Southern California's lifestyle alongside career opportunities, that's legitimate and that's fine. Don't try to position Anderson as also Bay Area, which is not going to work in your favor. And for Johnson applicants, clarity about pathways is hugely important. So if you see consulting as a bridge to tech, explain that strategically in your application. If you're targeting East Coast tech specifically, articulate why that's important to you. Johnson appreciates authenticity about your goals and will definitely make that as a priority for them. Across all these schools, position your consulting experience as preparation, not something you're escaping from. Really important, no matter how you feel about your work in consulting. If you're thinking about how to tell your story, definitely I invite you to reach out to discuss how you can develop your consulting experience, or how you can communicate your consulting experience authentically into a narrative for your applications, not creating fiction, of course, but articulating the genuine strategic thinking behind your school selection, your goals development, and the entire application process. So you can go to siaadmissions.com and request a consultation there. We have about 2 minutes left. So why don't we jump into questions? I know we've got some questions that came through the registration, and I would love to see some questions in the chat. So if you guys have any questions about anything I said today, please let me know. I have talked a lot, and it's a very dense presentation today. So I encourage you to come back to it, rewatch it again, as you're navigating this process for yourself. All right, let's see what questions came through the registration. What red flags do admission committees see in consultants aiming for product management? This is an excellent question. Oftentimes, one of the things that I see often in applicants that we work with here at Sia, and obviously we guide them through in navigating this presentation, but one of the elements that we oftentimes see is not necessarily translating your consulting experience into something, into transferable skills that will be valuable for your product management role or whatever your tech role that you're aiming to have. That is a major red flag, if we can call it that, because the admission team, when they're evaluating your application, they're not just looking at, oh, what kind of experiences do you have? Those experiences have a specific role. Those experiences are looked at from the perspective of how can we market you to future employers? Are your experiences transferable? Are your experiences going to make it possible for you to be able to make the moves that you want to make in your career? So first and foremost, do you have clarity in your goals? And then second, it's how are you translating your experiences to communicate the transferable skills that you've developed? again, this is really about looking at your experiences very differently than you are typically accustomed to when you build, for example, a job resume. That is our process here at Sia. We start with the goal. That is the foundational work that we will do first and foremost. Nothing is built before that part. And then from there, it's looking at what value do your experiences have across the different steps in the application. So in your resume, how are we communicating your experiences that translate to transferable skills? In your essays, what are we communicating that not only answers the questions, but also communicates that transferable skills that will be valuable both in the classroom as well as when you go to work after you graduate from business school? All right, I think that's the only question I can answer today. We are still, this month, we are having a career transition series. So our next transition, so first and foremost, the last two have been moving into tech. So investment bankers moving into tech, consultants today moving into tech. And then next week, we're going to sort of reverse this. So individuals who are coming from the tech space moving into finance or consulting positions. So we'll talk about that. If you are considering that pathway, I invite you to register for that event. Write your questions in the comment or when you register, just so it allows us to answer your question, even if you're not able to join us live. And share it also with others who are in your network considering business school and may find value in a space like this. Wonderful. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And please write comments after you watch this if you would want something clarified further, or if we can help answer any additional questions that we missed in this presentation. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week. Hi, I'm Susan Barashai, founder of Sia Admissions. If you'd like to go deeper into MBA strategy, watch the next video here. And if you want more insights on building a standout application, click here to subscribe.